I don't have to do anything
We're live
technical.
now. Yeah, we're live. Uh, hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I'm your host, Cheryl Brooks, and my co-host this evening is Katina, and
No.
our guest tonight is Vivian Rose Lee.
Hi.
Hello, and we will be discussing. Let me get the cover. Book one is we're discussing her Embracing Destiny series. Is three books, and this is the first cover that I'm showing now
Yes.
for anybody who hasn't read the book and wants to get the book. I also have the third cover. I don't have the second one for some reason. That's the third cover. Both beautiful covers, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to get right into it. And let's see.
So
We
much.
have a Facebook user out here. Hello, Facebook user. If you want to show your face and your name, just go to the description and click the link to give permission. All right. Okay, so Vivian, what has been, for those who are new to you, what's been your writing journey? How long have you been writing professionally, and how did you get started?
Well, I've been writing, I guess it might be 10 years now, since 2011 is when I wrote my first book. I
Okay.
published my first book. So I guess that's 2021 now, I guess. I mean, talking about 21, 11, 11 now. I always liked to write. I wrote in my younger days because it was a hobby, and it was just something I did. I didn't publish my first book till I was 50.
Oh, really?
Right.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. So I had boxes of books I had written over the years, um, before the internet and all that stuff. So you did everything by either by hand or by typewriter. So I had a
Right.
lot of stuff that in my free time, that was a hobby of mine, is writing.
So how did you go from it being a hobby to actually deciding that you were going to publish it? Did you
Actually, I always wanted to. I tried it once, but the very first book, matter of fact, the one that I published on Amazon, and I did go through the way, going to a publishing house and all that. Sent in my manuscript. Now they sent it back, and they said it was a romance. That the story was good, but they were not accepting any African American romances at this time.
Mm.
So that was that. And then what happened, how I really found out about Amazon, my son bought me a Kindle for Christmas one year, 2011, and I played with it, and I saw that they took books, so I took a chance and published my book. That was it.
Okay. Now,
That
did
was
you have
it.
to do any what type of research did you do? Or you
For
just
that book, because it was one of the books that I have written in my past, it was already written. All I had to do was go in and correct some things, which I didn't do a very good job of the first book, but that's all I had to do because it was already written. I had
right?
written it, in my younger days. So I said,
Right.
I had to update it for that, for that year, because I think I wrote that book in, like, oh my goodness, maybe 19 something, 1999
Okay.
maybe.
Wow.
So I had to go and update for
Right.
2011.
Hmm.
So
Right. Because they didn't
that's the
have
only thing I really did.
sales and all of that. Well, not the sales that we had then, but
Right.
Hmm.
now I think the first book I read of yours was it the Heart series? I
Part
believe.
series.
Yeah, I believe it was. That's when I first was introduced to you.
Uh-huh.
And so with this series, is this your first foray into historical romance?
Yeah, it is. I had to check myself to make sure it was. I wasn't sure. Yeah, but it was my first one. That Embracing Destiny, that was my very first one. Now
You did
that
an
was one
excellent job.
Wonderful
I had
job.
boxed years ago. And it was my daughter who said, "Mom, she was reading it. She had picked in my business, and she was reading it. And she said, "Mom, you need to publish this." I said, "Girl, please." And then my son gave me the Kindle. and I, learned more about Amazon, the Amazon business. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to try it." So I did that. The first was that little, very short romance, but then I got really comfortable with it after a bit, and so I published. I wanted to embrace it. That was one of my box books. I call it box
Okay.
books. And so I said, I'm gonna try this because I had did so much research. Because when I wrote that book by hand, I had to go to the library and research about Seminole Indians and
Mm-hmm.
how life was in Philadelphia in 1890, and so all that stuff I had to go to the library and do that because we didn't have computer back then when I
Right.
wrote that. So that was a lot of work, but I loved the library, so it
Mm-hmm.
didn't bother me. I worked when I would take vacation, and that's what I do every day. The week I'm on vacation, go to the library every day. That was my
Okay.
vacation.
Wow.
So I finished it, and then computers came out. Then I could, transfer it to
Right.
computers. Yeah. So it's an old book. It's just new to everybody.
Okay, because you did for that to be
Wow.
because it's much research and
Yes.
how much it goes into historicals. You did an excellent job for it
Thank
to
you
be
very
your
much.
first, yeah.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
that's
Thank you so much.
one of my favorite genres. So I read a lot of
Oh,
historical.
I
Yes.
love historical. So I always
Yeah.
wanted to write one, but I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I never heard of Beverly Jenkins.
Are you
I'm gonna tell.
serious?
No, I didn't hear about Beverly Jenkins till um, she wrote her first book.
Okay.
That's when I didn't even think there were any. But now let me be clear. I didn't think there were any historical Black authors. I knew there were Black authors, but not historical ones.
Right.
And I
Right.
love historicals. So when I ran across Beverly Jenkins, I was like, "Dad, come! I can't believe I was just choked up." And another one, Brenda Jackson.
Right.
She was another one. And I didn't think there were that wrote contemporary romances. But I was like blown over with Beverly, and I read everything she wrote. Everything that
Yeah,
came
I
out, I
have
was reading it.
too.
I read it, and I just kept my hobby. I
Hmm.
didn't think but I love Beverly Jenkins. Love her.
Yeah, I do too. And I think she's the standard. She's always
Yes,
been the standard for historical
yes.
romance. And,
Oh, I do. I think she's the mother of that for us
yeah,
anyway. I
most
think she is.
definitely. But I'm telling you, this series is so well done.
Thank you.
And like I said, I read a lot of his Black and white authors,
Yeah,
historical
I do too.
romance.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's coming from somebody who reads a lot of it.
Uh-huh.
We have some people in the audience. Hi, Antoinette. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Antoinette.
And Facebook user is saying this speaks to Vivian Lee's master ability to write. Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent job. And I have to tell you, Vivian, because I read the series before, because you remember I attended like 2 of the chats with Loretta.
Right. Yes.
So, but it had been so long since I read the first one and the second one, so I went back to read, and I just planned on skimming it. But
Right.
because it was so good, I ended up rereading them.
Thank you.
I ended up just rereading the entire
Right.
book. So.
Thank you.
Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining.
Hello, Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Loretta. Yeah, if you want to
Hey,
show your
Loretta.
face or anything, Loretta, just go to the
Yeah.
link at the top in the description and give StreamYard permission.
Yes.
But yeah, most definitely such an excellent job. And I was going to ask you too, what made you want to write about the Seminole
Seminole. When I was in the the library, when I would go to the library before computers and everything, I got to know some of the librarians there, and she said, "Well, what you here every day? What are you looking for?" I said, "I'm looking for anything on Black history and Native Americans. That's what I'm looking for." So she said, "Well, She took me down to the basement to their archive area, and oh my God, I thought I was in heaven. It had so much stuff I was never taught in school, and probably a lot of us wasn't taught in school about Black people and about the Native Americans. But what fascinated me about the Seminoles is their kindness to the slaves, the way they came together with the slaves And I'm more or less in the. They were slaves, but they more were family than they were master and slave, and that's what I was impressed with, and that's what
Mm.
made me so interested in the Seminole Indian. I even went to they had, I think it was in our area up this way. They had the Seminole Indians came and they had like a little, I guess, powwow they call it, and they do
Okay.
their cultural things and their dances and everything. And I attended one of those, and I was just like, you thought I was going to see Stevie Wonder. I was so excited, and I had got so engrossed in the Seminole. I got books and books on them, and
Mhm.
but they had fascinated me, and the stories that I read, and some of the lives that I read about Osceola and all these different Seminole blacks, and the things they did for our country and for our people.
Mhm.
So that is where
Wow.
Sutton comes in. He is my black
Right.
Seminole hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it was interesting to me to read about that because because I read a lot of, like I say, history, but I also watch a lot of documentaries, and a
Right.
lot of the stuff that I heard, that I always was told, or that I learned, is that they themselves own slaves,
Yes.
and we don't get the story that you told as far as how everybody worked together, and
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
and, and the land was given to
Yes.
the slave. Yeah,
And we don't know that, a lot of that stuff. A lot of stuff surprised me. I
right.
was so surprised by, uh, like the Cherokee Indians. They owned slaves, and they weren't that kind to their slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Where the difference was with the Seminoles, they were more kind to their slaves.
Mm.
They kind of worked together,
Okay.
and that's what I liked about the Seminole Indian.
Yeah, I'm glad that you told that story because yeah, you're right. The series definitely resonates.
Hmm.
Yeah, I loved reading about it and learning about it because a lot
Hmm.
of the things that you had in there, I went and I looked up,
Uh-huh.
and because I do that with a lot of my historical reading.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that part of it too.
Mhm.
Antoinette is saying she loves your stories, excellent
Thank you.
storytelling. And then we have another Facebook user at saying hello. And for those who have Facebook user, if you want to go to the description, you can click on the link to give StreamYard permission to show your face. Totally up to you. Also, now I want to get, since we're going over 3 books, I want to just jump right into it.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're going to start with book 1,
Okay.
and that's Randa. Do you pronounce it Randa?
Randa. Hmm.
Random.
Randa and Sutton.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now, one thing I can say, Vivian, in all three, it wasn't the women so much as the men who were the ones that were hard headed and hard edged and giving the
Yes.
women a hard time. They were the ones who had to be lit, like they were struggling not to be in a relationship. All three of them, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that. Um, I usually go over like heartfelt moments, and with the first book, there were several of them.
There's so many.
So
Yes.
many, and Randa's story just broke my heart.
Yes.
I just put myself in her shoes, and just being ripped away from your mother and
Mhm.
taken to a place where you didn't know anybody, and they're supposed to be your family, but they treat you like dirt, basically.
Yeah.
Um, it just broke my heart, and um, that was difficult to read, but that was I liked when the grandfather finally showed her love, and
Hmm. That was
wasn't
a favorite moment for
yeah,
me
it
too.
wasn't
The
ignoring
bonding
her.
of the
Right,
grandfather and granddaughter.
right, and they had a beautiful bond and beautiful relationship after
Hmm.
that,
Yes.
and he shielded her after that from the abuse of
Yeah.
the
Of her aunt.
high. Mhm. So that was one of my heartfelt, just her as a child coming
Mhm.
into that situation. What about you, Tina?
Um, I think it was heartfelt and it was a frustrating moment. Uh, at her party at her house.
Oh.
And
Yes.
when Mary, I believe,
Yes.
just went off, and she was trying to be strong, but and Sutton, came in and
Rescued her when she
rescued
couldn't.
her. I thought that was a really, really touching moment there.
It was, and I liked how she wasn't broken because the situation where her aunt and cousins, the way they abused her and treated
Mhm.
her, could have broken her spirit. But
Yes.
she was able to come away from that because her grandfather, she kept repeating the words that she would hear his voice in her head, telling her to be strong and she can, you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I love the banter between her and Sutton.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now that usually gets on my nerve. I'm gonna tell you, Debbie. Now I usually don't like the
We
enemies
don't.
and lovers type trope. I say this all the time, but in
Uh-huh.
this one, it was kind of cute because I like that she, from where she came from to how she became, and what
Yes.
he brought out in her. So with them, it was cute. I didn't think it wasn't frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Um,
think it was the vice versa because she did the same thing for him
right,
Yeah.
because he was rough and tough, and
right.
then
She didn't let him get away with it.
right,
Mhm.
right,
She stood up to him.
she stood up to him.
And what was funny, one of the hilarious moments for me was when he would call himself being stern and he would say her full name loud.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then she would put her hands on her hips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. And we have someone in the audience asking, is this series in paperback?
Yes, it is.
And where can
Yes.
they get it?
On Amazon. It's on paperback and Amazon. The
Okay.
first, second, and third book. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and you will love it. You will love it. You will love it.
Love, love, love it.
Yeah, it's definitely making my top list, my top book list this year. And
Yeah, yeah.
another thing that I liked, I loved how Randa, when she finally left the household of her aunt and her
Mm.
Yeah.
uncle, because the uncle too, I say he was complicit in it too, because he just sat around and watched his
He
wife.
allowed it to happen.
Right, he
Yeah.
allowed it to happen. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought she was very generous when she said, "If you need me, come to me." Um,
I think she recognized that he was also tortured,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
well.
I was hoping that would come through where he was also, in a
Oh
sense,
yeah.
tortured or abused.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, I was hoping that would come through.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually felt sorry for him, for Thomas. I did. I really did.
I
Because
ended up
everything
feeling
he
for
did
him.
for
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when she moved to Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
and she still wasn't welcome because of Mary and her hens.
Yes.
And I like how you also brought out how no matter how old you are, you still have these like mean bullies, even as
Yes.
adults, which I can't,
Yes.
I can't stand bullies, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
um,
They grew up. Little bullies grow up to be big bullies.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately,
If they're not stopped in their rise.
right,
Say that. Let me
right,
put it that way. Not all bullies turn out to be grown bullies. If they're not stopped as they're growing up, and this is my opinion, then they're going to be grown bullies.
hmm,
But they have to be stopped before that time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not stopped, they grow up to be old bullies.
right. Like
You know.
Mary, because even her husband, even though she frustrated him, he still allowed the
Yes.
behavior.
He did.
Still allowed the behavior, and I said many times as I was reading all three books
Mhm.
that if I was there, she would have been run. I would have started a campaign to run her out on the rail. I'm telling you.
You, you and Miss Hattie.
Oh my goodness! I wanted to jump through the pages a couple of times, but what I like too that Randa didn't allow her to run roughshod over her,
Yeah.
and she made basically she accumulated a new family that wasn't blood but was by choice with Hattie and
Yes.
Rufus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved Hattie.
Yes, me too. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. I loved Hattie. Yeah.
Now, did you base any of these characters on anybody? Like, did you have anybody particular in mind for
Well,
these main characters?
no. Well, when I originally wrote, like I said, I had originally wrote it, earlier. I just had to go back and tweak it here and there. But no, not really. I know. Well, one thing I can say, and this might not make sense, but once I was out of Philadelphia and went into Tallahassee, the characters just came. So no, I didn't have an outline. I didn't have now I do it. I do it, but the last two books I did do an outline
Oh, okay.
and make my characters. But for this book, it was just straight written with no, like I said, I didn't have the information back then,
Right.
with no outline or character building or what I had to research was the town I was going to use, and and write it for those times. For 1890, I had to write it for those times. But as far as the characters go, they just came. I didn't have my characters just developed as I wrote.
Right.
So,
and I hadn't known that Oklahoma was one of the places that they settled.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So that was good to know too. Someone in the audience is saying they came a few minutes late. Which book? We're discussing the Embracing Destiny series, and we're discussing book 1. And I can show you the cover again. Since you came late, I showed the cover earlier. All right, and that's the cover on the screen for book 1, Embracing Destiny. That's the book that we're discussing right now. All right. And did you have any comments or anything, Tina, about book 1?
We had the same feelings about Mary. Hattie was my hero.
Hattie was my hero.
Yeah.
And you know what I loved? I loved when she called Randa Miranda.
I know. Yeah.
I loved it.
I love that.
She said, "That's my Miranda."
I think it was. What was it? The part, the scene when Mary went off on her at her party, and Sutton couldn't get to her immediately because he had to hold Hattie back.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have to remember Hattie got kicked out of Tallahassee because of Mary.
Correct. And that's what I love.
Mary learned not to mess with her too.
Yeah, she didn't mess with Hattie.
No, and I love that Randa embraced. She really fully embraced her grandfather's, I guess, dream.
Yes.
For that, and she employed everybody that she could get her hands on.
She created jobs. She created jobs for people in Tallahassee, and her generous spirit is what I think brought people around. It seemed like she actually had the men come around first, as far as the leaders of the town.
For sure.
It was the women who were following along after
Mary.
And then a lot of jealousy going on and all of that. And that's another thing that I like is that even though I love the all black town, we all say that they work together. But we still see that they have strife because it's still human nature.
It's still human nature, yeah.
Right, whereas jealousy and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that intentional as far as making sure you wanted to show?
Well, I wanted to show the unity of a black town.
And you definitely showed that, yeah.
But I also wanted to be realistic about it. That was my thought. Was that I want to show the unity that we can unite, but there's always one or two that's going to try to throw that,
Always.
Yes, always one or two out there that would.
You have so many followers, because strong personalities like Mary, when you're dealing with personality that's not as, especially when you figure that they are just out of slavery, not long.
Right, and they weren't, and they were just out of slavery, and and I think I don't know how well I did it, but book 2, No, book 3 tells you how the town actually came apart, came together.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll, it starts Charles and Jeremiah.
That's right.
Right.
So they're actually, and George T, of course, they're actually the founders. Well, it was already there, but they developed it. I'll say that they
Right
didn't
after
discover it.
the
They just helped
Seminoles
develop
gave
it.
the
Yes.
gave the land to
Mhm.
them,
Yes.
and that's what I can't remember who it was. Was it Sutton that put Mary in her place when, or was it Drummond? I can't remember, but they had told her basically, you did not found this time. This time when she kept saying my town, my town.
Yes, she put herself as, because her husband had position, she felt like she had position.
Right.
Now I'm trying to think who it was that put her in a place.
Yeah, because since I just reread all 3 of them there, I can't remember which one it
know.
was.
I can't remember either.
I can't either.
Who was it?
But yeah, I love Branda's character, and I at first Sutton got on my nerves with the way he was acting, but
Yeah.
but I did like him individually as an individual, as far as
Right.
how strong he was and
Right.
ethical, and I like, in a way, I was feeling like whoever it was that brought it up to him, why would you be working for the white man to go after these criminals?
It was his grandfather and the teacher, the oldest lady in Tallahassee, told him, why are you working, working for these white men when you should be, because he was a lawyer, but he didn't do that.
Right.
It should be help,
And his friend kept trying to get him to join
yeah.
his practice, right?
Trying to get into,
Let's see. Now, one of my favorite scenes, because that's another thing that we go over, the favorite scenes. One of my favorite scenes in book 1 was the scene when Randa first arrives in Oklahoma and she first encounters Sutton when he's shoeing the horse and he's at Jasper's. And the way you describe how she just is mesmerized by this man, I love that.
Yeah.
I loved it. Because it wasn't actually like lust or anything. It was more like she was just in awe of him.
Yeah, in awe. Yeah, I didn't want to make it look like she was lusting. Yeah. I wanted her to say, "Oh my goodness, there are men out there like that."
Right.
So that's. I hope I pulled that off.
But
I didn't want it to be lusting.
Right. I love that, because when I was reading that, I said I love this scene. One thing too that one of the funny moments that I liked was Randa when she threw the shoe after Sutton. And then he kissed her, and then it became like a running joke with them. Are you going to kiss me now? And he would say no.
Yeah. I like and I don't know where it came from, but the scene when they were in the office with
Robert, I think. Yeah.
And she tells him off. Oh, so if I were a white woman, you would have escorted me to Tallahassee. But since I'm a black woman,
right?
Because the way he put it, man, looked like that's the
that
way
is out of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. I don't know where that came from, but I liked it. I like that when I finished.
A lot of their scenes together was, just very, very well done. And Tina, what was a good one for you as far as favorite or a light moment between them?
You guys hit all of mine.
Yeah.
You hit that. My number one was what Miss Vivian just said about that when she yelled at him in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And he was completely.
I think she called him a Claude or something.
Yeah, he was so speechless. He was so taken aback. He just kind of laughed, like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, but even with, and this is for the audience, even with all of the lighter moments, it was really some traumatic moments as well. And just the fact that she had a father that was so I called him a demon. He was
evil.
I called him a demon. And I think that the men in town trying to protect her did a disservice to her, because she wasn't prepared if she had known, she would have been more,
Yeah.
cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the wrong move on their part.
Right.
But just how evil and what made it scary is we see this today, how evil people can be because of greed.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, just from the greed, he was willing to, harm his
His
daughter.
own daughter. Yes.
Yeah, and got others to do it as well. And that was
Mm-hmm.
mainly just not even greed though, for the woman. I can't remember her name.
Alice. I think it was Alice.
Yeah,
Alice.
Alice.
Yes.
Hers was
Mm-hmm.
just jealousy.
Yes. Jealousy.
Another, yeah. So
Mhm.
that was very heart wrenching that she still was having to deal with all of this,
Right.
even away from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And but it was well done.
Well done.
And I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
they all got their just desserts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad they all got what was coming to them.
Yes.
Because that was a hard scene to kind of read
Yeah, it was.
when she was in the cave and all.
In the
Yeah,
cave taken.
that was
I
difficult.
think when I wrote that, I was feeling some kind of way as well.
Yes. That was hard.
Yes.
And then I thought, is this too much? If I'm feeling it like this, is it too much? That's what I was asking myself, because I was literally feeling what she was going through. And I said, maybe this is too much.
Yeah.
But I kept it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad you did.
it was good that you did, because it made
Glad
it
you
more
did.
it made it realistic. And
Yeah.
so this guy, this bumbling idiot,
Yes.
is doing Alice's bidding.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Idiot.
Yeah, so that was something. I did like the way Uncle Thomas and Randa actually bonded, and
Yes.
when
Yes.
she was taken, they were actually having a moment,
Right.
having
Yeah.
so I thought that was a poignant moment too, most definitely. So now we're going to go on to book 2 with Juba and Drummond.
Yeah.
And with them, again, Hattie was a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And she's a protector. She was a protector of
Yes.
Randa, but also Juba as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that how you pronounce her name, Juba?
Juba. Yes.
Okay. But what was one of your favorite scenes for Juba and Drummond's book? Tina.
Was that me?
Mm-hmm.
The one that stands out, I guess emotional. One of my favorite emotional scenes was probably when he grieved for the first time.
Oh, that was
Yeah. When he grieved. Yeah.
That was pretty deep.
Yeah.
And I like, I kind of like, I got a little emotional myself because he was, his whole life goal was to avenge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, but mine was actually when they did the retelling of what happened.
Yeah.
And it was. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was a difficult moment. Was that difficult for you to write, Vivian?
It was. It was. I don't want to. It was. I really felt it when I was writing it. I'll say that. I don't know where it came from. But I really felt it when I was writing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I do. My characters come as I write. How they feel. So I don't know where it came from, but I know as I was writing and I put it down and I go back and read. I said, "Oh my God, that's what I say. Is this too much?" If I go back and reread it.
That's when it's enough. When you say, "Is it too much?"
I have to remember that one.
Because if you think about it, you heard a lot of stories like that about these bandits.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, about the bandits. Yeah, I did. And I did a lot of research on the outlaws during that time.
Mm-hmm.
They had back then. I can't remember. I was just reading about them the other day. I can't remember the name of. They were young black men, some mixed, with Native Americans. Some were black, and a Mexican, they were terrible.
Right.
I mean, killing like that. And so I kind of based it from that group, but not quite as treacherous as they were in real life. But they got hung, in
Right.
the end.
Now, was that the real hanging? Was that the real hanging judge? The one that was?
Did I use? I tried to portray him. Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna ask that. Yes.
Yeah. Now I think
when I was reading it, I said, "I wonder, is this the real? The one that she based it on was he the real hanging judge from back then?"
But only thing different about he was the real judge, but his history, as far as history goes, only thing that was fictional was his friendship with Sutton and Drummond.
Right.
That was fictional.
Right. And I like that you even included Bass Reeves.
Yes. Oh God, we got to mention Bass. Oh, yes. I love him.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I love the little historical gems throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent job. And you do. I could visualize the town. I could visualize the residents of the town. Mm-hmm. And what I did, and what I do sometimes is I'll find a movie that's set in that same era, and I'll have that playing as I'm reading. So I love to do that as well. So I was thinking that I could put on that was around that same time. But what I ended up watching Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
On Paramount.
I'm streaming it now.
Yeah. So that was good because it puts me even more into that world.
Yeah, into that world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You do that anything like that, Tina? As far as how you put yourself in that mindset?
I usually I research if I see something and I'm trying to visualize it, I'll Google it. So I have an idea of
I do that too.
Right, of what it looks like and all that.
And some of the descriptions of like the features, house or something like that. And there was something they called I don't know why I couldn't remember. It was a word that basically called like the foyer, but it was something else. I can't remember what it was called. And I was like, what is that? This sounds like it's house. And I was like, oh, he's so silly. So, but I usually do that, or I take that route. I just kind of,
Yeah, I'm heavy on the research. I need to see it.
I have to.
Yeah,
I'm a visual person, so I have to.
Yeah,
see it.
I am too. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
But the way you described everything, it played out as you were reading anyway. I loved it, and I loved Juba's character. I loved her anyway. Even
I liked Juba.
Yeah,
I liked her character.
Even in the first book, I loved the way she, befriended Randa, and I loved how close they became. So when she came back as a doctor, I understood just from that the mind frame of men back then. I could see them because even men now don't always want a woman doctor. Even
that's true. That's true.
That's true.
So I can understand it. The women I was a little disappointed in.
Yeah. But I was but you know what? The reason why I was showing. Well, I thought I was anyway, showing a point when the women didn't back her at first. But gradually, there might have been one or two that backed her.
Yeah.
But but I had read a article, I guess it was, when I was doing my research about that. The women were afraid to go with something well, at that time, a woman doctor was controversial.
Right.
So they was afraid to go with to be on that woman's side. Now the braver ones, they went right with her.
Right.
But there were a lot of women that didn't do it because it was controversial.
Right. And I think too, even today, women are harder on other women than
that's truth. We are hard on each other.
Yes. We are. And so I can even see it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Because she just assumed that because they knew her from,
Yeah, she did. She assumed because they knew her, she grew up there, they would support her. But
and that was a heartfelt moment for me. It was a few of them, though, actually, with that one. One was when she cried herself to sleep because of the way they treated her
They
at
treated her,
at the meeting, the town hall meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting.
Yeah.
And, another is when she delivered the triplets.
Yeah.
And she got overwhelmed and was crying. And that was a moving for me. What about you, Tina?
You guys get all the good ones. I felt like every time. See, if I say this, it's going to kind of give it away a little bit. When Drummond took her to his property, I think, and he, propositioned her. Say that. Giving it away. When he, showed her everything that he had and that, he wanted her to have. It was sweet, because it was so rough, and for him to do that. But a lot of my moments, one of them was Butch and Hattie.
Oh yeah.
Because that
was unexpected. Yeah,
right.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know where that came from. But actually, if you think about it, when in the first book, and I didn't realize it till after I wrote it. In the first book, where the guys was Hattie had the man cooking the meat.
Yes.
And she was cooking it, and Randa got after. I hired somebody to do that. That was Butch.
Right.
Okay.
Who was, cooking the meat. So that right there gave the connection. And I didn't realize that till I was writing it in the second book. Well, I said, so I already set that up.
Right. And I like the way he came to her defense when Mary said something about
yes.
Yeah. But Hattie didn't need his help.
No, she didn't need his help.
She laid it on. She laid it on Mary. Then she had. She said, "If you want to go there, I can make some. I can show you better.
We can go there, if you want."
Yeah. So Hattie was no joke. I loved her. And
I think another one for me was also at the saloon when Juba was treating Kima, was it?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
When she saw that moment with Drummond, it was like, ugh. I was like, in my mind, I was like, please don't mess this up, please.
But even with Drummond and even with them having that history,
right?
He really was. He was fighting it tooth and nail, and it was that intentional, Vivian, that for the men to be instead of the women playing hard to get, it was the men in the series.
That was intentional. That was intentional.
Yeah,
because most men don't come. I don't know. I don't think this is just a personal opinion. I don't think a man I could easily get I would want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I just say snap my fingers and here you come, I'm not impressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my mindset. Yeah.
And I can see it on both sides. Women were no slouches either.
Right.
When they made it, when they called themselves saying they didn't want to be bothered, the women were like, okay,
all right,
right.
And that's when they came around. When other men saw the treasure that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I like that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
And with I felt for the young boy,
John boy,
Mm-hmm. Man, you had some very heartfelt moments.
I like John Boy too. I liked Hattie, Butch, and John Boy's story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't outline that. That's not even in my outline. It just came. I just thought it would fit. Because even Hattie and Butch, I had no intention of putting her. Well, I didn't have no intention of putting Hattie with anyone.
Right.
But then Butch came up, and I remember from the first book, he was the one that was cooking the meat. And so I said Hattie deserves to be loved too.
Yes.
So
I
that's
like
why
that.
I did that. Mm-hmm.
And you know what I like too is that you didn't make her. You didn't have her just be honorary or fight it for just to be fighting. You know how sometimes the
Yeah.
women are so independent and saying, "I don't need." I'm glad that it didn't go that route.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I like that as well.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
everybody, Hattie was rough. I mean, I know we all in our lives, you all got that one person
Mm-hmm.
that talks rough but sweet as honey.
Right.
Got that rough kind of. Go ahead on now, just go get it.
Right.
But that was Hattie.
Mm-hmm.
But got the biggest heart.
Yes.
That I know we all met someone like that in our life.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
She,
So that was
remind me
Hattie.
of your favorite aunt or
Yes, exactly. Girl, get out my face. But yeah, go ahead. But it was, that's Hattie. That was Hattie to me.
And I forgot to tell you in the first book, another thing that touched my heart was when Randa asked Hattie to come stay with her, and she showed her where she would be sleeping.
Yeah. I like
Hattie
that.
just broke down.
Yeah. She got an indoor outhouse.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
But what I liked about this particular book was the women in the town gaining their freedom from Mary.
Yes.
And Juba was instrumental in a lot of that.
Yeah, Juba was instrumental in that.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that brought that about. And I don't know. I thought I made Eliza a little weak.
Yes.
But
I agree.
Like in book 3, it tells you why.
Right.
I mean, because it started out. I mean, at the end of the book, tells you why she was like that with Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because she was a timid girl growing up. She wanted to be part of the in crowd with Vessa and Mary in their neighborhood, and she wanted to be, part of them. So she kept secrets.
Right.
But
what I liked is when it came to her child, though, when
Mary
that's when Mama
that's every
came
mama.
out.
That's every mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I dropped my phone. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's when Mama came out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She said, "Don't get it twisted. Don't mess with my child."
Yeah.
I love that. And now we have to talk about the demon seed of Catherine. We have to talk about the demon seed Catherine, the niece.
Yeah. Oh God.
Because I think she was even worse than Mary because she was.
Yeah, she was.
Cruel.
She was worse than Mary.
She was cruel, and the way they treated Grace, I wanted to say, "Will you fight?"
Yeah,
back?
I wanted. When I was writing that, I said Grace got to get some courage. And then when she said, that's why I finally separated. I purposely put that last thing Catherine did to Grace and knocked her on the boards.
Yeah, and
Sutton came out.
Yeah,
and
I think it was Drummond. Drummond told her.
That's what I meant. Drummond came out, and tell you said you can you can get you need to get a better friend.
Yeah.
And in his statement, he called in a roundabout way.
Right.
You could be friends with Juba. And the roundabout way called her cat because Juba's not scared of Catherine.
No.
Right. Nowhere near. And she had to put Catherine in her place a few times.
Oh,
But see, that's another thing with the jealousy thing.
Yeah.
This girl, just from watching how well Juba had her thing together and the envy, it was just
yes.
That it was and you see that a lot when you hear about people who turn on each other and stuff, and it's because they were jealous.
Yeah.
She wanted a wagon or something.
Oh yeah, she goes.
On the buggy. You had a buggy.
And her uncle said, "Can you even drive a buggy?"
Stupid.
But you know, we see that today, like kids
Yeah, you do.
who
You
think that
do.
they have to have everything
Think
everybody
somebody else
else
has. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So you
Yeah,
have to
they
you
do.
have to you have to get them to grow out of that. But at a young age, you have to get them.
Yeah. But let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Did you when Juba went in and dragged Catherine out of Drummond's room? Did you think that was too much?
No.
No,
No.
absolutely
But you
not.
have to remember, Vivian. I'm a fan of like mafia type books, so
Yeah.
I'm all for payback. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The only thing I regretted is that she had a sheet over her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted it
I
raw.
love that Juba was not. Yeah, she was not. She was not.
Yeah. Juba wasn't one to play with. She didn't
Right.
play. And I didn't think I should have. Okay, because I was told by someone that I shouldn't have I should have made Juba more mature because she was a doctor and she was a pillar of society and all that. I say you can't change her if she
Right.
could.
It still
Juba
was
was
in
a
her.
kid
It
that was
still was
running
in her.
around town barefoot,
Right.
climbing trees, hair not combed. How
Right.
do you can change from that as far as
Right.
being more feminine, but you don't change your attitude or the personality that you are. So
Right.
no, we had to argue about that one. I think Juba should have been a doctor who didn't take no mess.
Right. I think you did. You portray her perfectly because
Perfect.
Yeah.
she had that elegance, that style
Yes.
from her experience in high society, but she still had that tomboy in her.
In her, yeah.
From
And
when,
she was-
and people brought it out of her.
Right,
she was
right.
also-
People brought it out of her. Yes.
Right. But she was also very passionate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's very passionate.
And if she felt it, she went with it. So she's passionate about her patients. And so
Yeah.
she was, so if somebody came at her left, she went left with them. And
Yeah.
so she
Right.
let them
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Right. She
That
said, I'm
okay?
gonna match your energy. Whatever you bring in, I'm gonna match it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going with you. So,
That's true.
but
Yeah.
Drummond was in the same kind of situation if you think about it, because Sutton had to continuously like, dude, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
leaving
Yeah.
town. Don't go nowhere. Don't do nothing. Don't say nothing. And
Right.
of course, he would do it anyway.
Right.
But he was kind of dealing in the same thing, and it made me laugh because I just got tickled about the britches in all these books. But
Oh yeah, we did not want their women and
britches. Like he just
Yeah.
like when Drummond was all upset about her britches, and he
Yes.
was looking at Sutton like,
Yeah.
dude, you did the same thing.
Because when all the women were about to go move somebody into our house or something, they were taking something to the house.
Yeah.
And they all had on britches and
Had on pants. Yeah.
Right? And the men, they were not, and the men didn't like it. And then Sutton was like telling Drummond, "Don't look at my wife." But yeah, it was funny. I enjoyed that. Ola is asking how many books are in the series.
Well, I have 3 completed. I'm working on the 4th.
Oh, I love that. I can't wait. I can't wait. I love it. I love it. Yeah, this is an excellent series. And I love all the characters. Well, some of the characters. But even the villains, you did a good job as far as developing them.
Yeah.
Now, I had forgot too in the first book. What I love too when Mary and them and her aunt were on her porch and the aunt wouldn't leave.
Yeah, yeah.
And she went and got her gun.
Got her gun.
She was not the same little meek little girl anymore.
Yeah, she was not that to be intimidated by them.
And who was it that was with her? Because they were like, I know that face.
It was Mary. It was Mary, her 2 daughters,
and somebody else. I can't remember who else it was, but
yeah,
they knew exactly what she was about to do. They were like, oh.
And Hattie laughed the whole time. She just laughed.
Oh man! So she kept that pistol on her.
Yeah.
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 She
Yeah.
told Hattie, go get my gun. I think for Sutton one time.
Yeah, for Sutton. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, and now we move to book 3 with Faith and Jeremiah.
Yes.
And I think I had mentioned to you at the chat with Loretta and her book club. Jeremiah really got on my nerves in this book, and the way that he treated Faith on, just I understand he had been hurt in the past, but especially back then, you treated
got
women.
on my nerves too.
Yeah,
and I wrote it. He got on my nerves.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Somebody,
but you know what? I needed to make him be a butthole. I really, really felt
it worked.
like he needed to be a butthole. But he got on my nerves too. I'm gonna be honest about that, and I wrote it. But I felt like he needed to be a butthole. I really needed to be one.
He definitely was. You achieved that because
achieved.
Yeah,
like,
but I think he needed. Yeah, he needed to be. He needed that show that part because he was before all what Mary did to him. He was always a nice, smiling, happy fella in town.
Mm-hmm.
But after what Mary had done to him, and when he found out Mary did, what she ruined his life from the beginning.
She did.
And so I mean, a person would change. They would become hard and hateful. If you was with her 15, what was it, 15 years, 16 years he put up with her?
A long time.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think a person whole demeanor would change.
Yeah. And you did, and I mean I understood it. I just
but he did. He got on my nerves too.
Tina, can you carry on? I have to go backstage for a moment. I'm about to go backstage for a moment.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. What I liked about this particular book was Faith's persistence.
Yeah.
To be so protective
of those children.
Those two little bundles of joy that I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
David and Carol Ann were like my absolute favorite characters in this whole book. They just, and I think it was helpful that, and I like the way you put them with Jeremiah, because I think that that kind of bended, it kind of broke,
kind of made, broke him down a little.
Right, it broke him down a little bit.
Yeah. That little girl, just really captured him. Just really captured him.
She did.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
When she called him mama.
When she called him mama.
That was so sweet. She called him, and David had to correct her.
Yeah.
And say, he can't be the mama because he's a man.
Man, yeah. He has to be the papa.
He has to be the papa. But what kind of one of the moments that was a little emotional for me was I guess in the beginning when they were with their mom.
Yeah.
And he had to protect his little sister.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then he had to do it again.
Yes.
All over again. Yeah, because it was the same man that was doing the same thing to his mother. The same thing.
But the thing I wanted to really stress the love he had for his little sister. And the protection. That he knew to protect that little girl. And knew just what to do to protect her. I wanted to really stress that.
Yeah. And you could see how they cared for each other.
Yeah.
When he took ill.
Yeah.
When
he got sick. Yeah.
He got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that just changed the game. And even in that moment, I thought that Jeremiah might shift a little more.
Right.
But he was still
tight. Yeah.
He was still in his head, and he was still not bending and still trying to be, I'm just helping her out. No big
Yes,
deal.
right. I'm just helping her out. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And this little girl just kept chipping away.
Yes.
In church, she was like, she had to sit with him in
Yeah.
church and
Yeah.
all. So those two were they were like two of my favorite characters
Uh-huh. Yeah.
for sure. Especially with the when they went to his house and she said the mispronouncing of the words.
Yes.
It was
Mhm.
like pity house and things.
Yeah.
It was like
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think a 2-year speaks English that well. You know what I
right.
mean? It doesn't make to me as a I call myself a writer.
Uh-huh.
Um, I like things to be kind of real. I wouldn't say a year-old child would say, "Hello, how are you?" No, they
Right.
wouldn't say that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I
Mm-hmm.
think if I'm writing about a 2-year-old, I think they should have. And I've had 2-year-old. I've been around 2 years old. They don't have that English yet. They don't have the
Right.
pronunciation of words yet. So I wanted to make sure I got that 2-year-old. Because I even questioned. I said, "Does a 2-year-old even say this?" You know. But I try to be as realistic as I can with my characters. So that's why I went with the baby. The kind of the talk for her age group.
Right.
So,
Right.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. That
And we have a question in the audience.
Uh-huh.
Where any of the series come to Audible?
Um, I'm working on that. I would love to get. I would love to do it. I
I
would
would
love to
love
get to
that.
Kobe Dean, but I can't
Oh,
afford him.
please get him.
I
Please.
can't afford him. He would be perfect for Embracing Destiny, and Wesley Saban would be
Yes.
perfect. Can't
Yeah.
afford them. Mm-mm. I'd have to take out a loan from the Fed
Say yeah.
to pay him. But I would love to. Yeah, I want to do. I'm going to work on that. Well, on 24 is
Oh,
getting Embracing Destiny and Audible, the series.
that would
That'll
be
I
be good
think.
good.
because that'll open it up to a whole new audience. Because
Yeah, yeah,
some
it
readers
would.
have gotten to where they just listen to
They're
books.
listening now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I will be starting this year. I will be 24. I will be starting the Heart series on Audible.
Oh, are you
Start.
okay?
Yeah. So Player's Heart, the very first one, is going to go into production in January.
Oh, good.
And the girl that I have, I think she's a perfect. If you've read the Heart series, I think she's a perfect Zoe. Her
Okay.
voice, I think she fits Zoe really good.
I'm gonna have to
So
go back and reread that series. It's been a while since I've read them, so I know
mhm.
you still it's the series is still ongoing, right?
Yeah, I think I just put one out called Forget Van and Toya uh to get Forever Together.
Okay.
And I think I got one more book in that series, and that's Ray. I don't know if you read all of them, but his name is Robin Dylan's brother.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do a story on him, and I think that'll be it for
That's
the
good
Heart
that you've
series.
had such longevity with the series because that's like I said,
Yeah,
that's how I was introduced to you. So
yeah. You know what? But what happens when I'm writing? I'm thinking, oh, I'm not writing. This is it. This is it. This is it. And and then next thing I know, I'm creating another character that has something to
Mhm.
do with Duke and at the Howards and
right, right.
singing things, and so I have to do a story on that person. But I do have the Brotherhood series, so I could separate it a little bit. But I think the Brotherhood series is done with Waya.
Okay.
I think it's done. I think that's it. I think that's all the Brotherhood is Waya. I
Well,
think that's it.
I hope, like somebody in the audience said, I hope we get 20 more books of the Destiny, Embracing Destiny.
I know where that came from. I know where that came from.
Yeah, because I'm here for it if you do.
I
Yeah,
am.
yeah. I'm working on 4, so
I
so
am.
far so good.
They're saying they have read every book that you published. I don't know if that's still Loretta or somebody else, but um, but yeah, I have to go back and finish up the Heart series.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm so glad that you decided that you agreed to come on the show because I wanted to talk to you about the books because I had to just tell you that I enjoyed them
Yeah.
so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I would like to say hi to the Reading Circle Chicago.
Yes.
And I'd like to say hi. I don't know if anyone came to the Rose Petals, but I sent a note to my Rose Petals that I would be
Yeah, I
on
feel like I
here.
saw
I see a rose petal in there.
And also to my
There
reading
she is.
circle, Divine Sisters. So
Okay.
that's a reading circle that I'm involved with. So
Yeah,
hi
we have one
everybody.
right
Thank
here
you for
saying that
coming in.
they
Who came? I
are proud of
appreciate it.
a rose petal. They're a rose petal right here as
Oh
well.
wow, thank you. Hi Rose Petal.
So you gave us a little. You said you're working on number 4. Is there anything else that you have coming up or coming out?
Well, right now I'm focusing on that. And like I said, I think I'm going to do one more of the Heart series.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so those two will be my latest projects, and then I'm working on trying to get them on Audible. You know, the Heart series first, but I don't know. I might get, if I can find the perfect person for that scene, for that the voice
Mm-hmm.
for that Embracing Destiny.
I
I
have
would
another
do
one too that
Embracing Destiny.
I can send to you that he does voice narration, and he's
Uh-huh.
very, very, very. I actually discovered. I actually saw him when I went to one of the virtual. I think it was RSJ, one of their
Uh-huh.
virtual events, and they had him, and I think you would love his voice.
What
So
is his name?
I'll send it to you. What's
Oh,
his
send
name?
it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Send it to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that'll be an option. But
Uh-huh.
Tina, did you have any comments or questions before we end?
I just have one word. Juanita. And that's it. That is all. I can't even. I don't even know if there are people that exist like her. If they do, I
Oh,
never
they're
want
out
to know.
there. Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, I bet. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that use up the good ones, and then change
Yeah.
them.
But you know, I want to make a point on that last. Speaking about Juanita, the one part, and I was thinking about it today. One thing that I personally was proud of myself for was when Jeremiah told her the type of town they were. They're not a town where somebody is richer than the other person.
Right.
We build this town together,
Right.
and we are all the same. I was proud of myself for that little passage.
Yeah, I like that too. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today.
And it's true because when you think about it, they were all together. It didn't matter
How much money you had, if
one
you
had.
had,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all interacted.
Yeah.
They were all friends.
And that's what Mary was trying to do that.
Right.
My husband got leadership, so you're beneath me.
Right.
And that was the one thing Jeremiah hated the most about her.
Right. Because you figure with them just coming, like I said, out of not too long ago, where somebody was already lording over them.
Yes, right. Yes.
And then coming to, and then one of your own is doing that, you know.
Yeah.
Ola is saying that she's glad that I introduced her to another author. So you have a new.
Hi, thank you. You're welcome. You are so welcome.
Yeah, Ola, you are going to love it. She's going to love it. It looks like somebody's recommended another name. Sean.
I love his voice. I've heard it. I love his voice. I like him. I've heard his voice.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay.
There's about 3 of them I really, really like, but Jacoby DM is the one at the top.
Yeah, a lot of he's a favorite.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think he's a lot of favorites.
Yes. You have any idea when the 4th is? Is it gonna be next year that it comes out?
The Embracing Destiny 4. It'll be next. Oh yes, it will be next year. Yeah, okay. It'll be early next year. It won't be summertime.
Okay, good.
I don't do deadlines, so I'm just going to do assumptions. So let's
Right, right, right.
you know, I don't do deadlines. My brain freezes when someone
Right,
says
I'm
deadline.
not gonna lock you in or anything.
No.
I'm writing it down. What did she say?
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
Ola
I ain't making no
said
promises
you
on
have
the
a
date.
lot of books to for her to purchase.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she has a big catalog. Ola, I started with her Heart series years and years and years ago. So
Yeah. To 2011. I mean, was it 2016? I think it was 2016.
okay, okay.
2015, something like that. The
Yeah,
first one is the Player's Heart. That starts the Heart series, yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? I love the Heart series. I think that if I had to pick a series, and I like all of them, but the Heart, I mean, the Howard family and the
Hmm.
Singleton family, they're my heart. They really are.
And yours
I
is the
like that.
second. Yours is the second Heart series that I love. I love yours, and I love Iris Boland's Heart
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
So,
Oh, I
yeah,
read all of those. Yeah, I read
yeah,
them.
yeah. Love them
I don't
both.
get to read as much as I used to because I'm writing.
Okay,
So
yeah.
when I'm writing, I don't read.
And that's what I'm gonna ask you too. What genre do you read when you do read? What do you like to read? What you write, or do you like to read something totally different?
No, something totally different.
Hmm.
I like Iris Bowen, of course. Beverly, I do my
Oh
historical, my
yeah,
contemporaries. I kind of got a small, you got a small group of favorites. That's how I got my I got my Beverly, I got Iris, I got some other ones I can't call it now. I like Alexander House, and I just discovered her through Jacoby Diem.
okay, yeah,
Joan Bassett. Oh my God, Joan Bassett.
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
Love.
I am just.
She already know that the Black series is one of my top
Woo,
favorites.
woo,
Yeah,
ain't that a series?
Yes, Lord.
I
yeah,
had talked to her on the phone one time.
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
I was
Definitely one of my
too
favorites.
starstruck. I love her back series. Yes, I do.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't read the newest one yet, but I will.
Yeah, most definitely. And I was one of the ones that was telling her she should keep it going, but she wanted to do something different. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that Black series was on. It should have been a movie. I swear.
Still,
I agree.
yeah.
That
But
should have
yours,
been a
this
movie.
one too, this Embracing Destiny, I can see it. I can see
Oh,
it.
child.
Yes.
I can see
I
it.
appreciate that.
I can
I
definitely see
really,
it.
really do.
Yeah, most definitely. All
Yeah.
right, Miss Vivian, I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, I
And
appreciate you for inviting me.
yeah, no problem. When the fourth book comes out, we're gonna have to have you back.
Mhm.
Okay, let me know.
All right, I'll reach out to you. And Tina, thank you so much for helping me out today.
No
Thank you, Tim.
problem.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you everyone in the audience for joining us this evening. And if you can please share it so others can also enjoy it. And I'll see you Saturday when I speak to Joan Vassar.
I'll be there.
All righty.
See you.
All right, have a good one.
Good night.
Good night.